everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox. Here again to remind you that this is the best season of your life. I hope you are making this day a fantastic day. Of course, there's just one day left before the weekend, so that you can take a break if you are still in the workforce. But in the meantime, today is a great day. As we go through this journey of self discovery, comes a point where you start seeing, if you have been going through it methodically, you will start seeing the transformation in yourself. Because when you journey through go through a journey of self discovery, you're doing two things. You're either going back to recover what's been suppressed, or in some cases, for me, it was just getting rid of the influences that I had from external sources. And as I peeled the onion, as I peeled away those thoughts, those ideologies, those belief system, and all of that, as I continue to peel them off, what happens is that it exposes the real me, my true identity, my true authentic self. And it becomes easy because for me, the peeling off is easier, other than trying to go back and remember when I was at the age of 5, and I was no cares at all, and so forth. So whatever works for you is what you should do. But do know this, that as you continue to unpack this whole self, that you will find yourself transforming into a new person. Some of you have said that you are here to recreate yourself. You don't like the person that you are now. Not that you hate that person, but you just don't like that, you're insecure, you have no confidence, you're shy, and so forth, and you want to recreate yourself. Some of you want to reinvent yourself. Some of you are here to reignite the spark that you've had. And for some reason, your lights have been dimmed. So you go through life trying to please people and try to, keep the peace and try to make things good with others and everything. As a matter of fact, I hear people talk so much about that, especially women. How they put themselves on the back burner, and it's always their kids, their spouse, their family, their parents, whatever. And they come to a place where, you don't even know who you are. You don't even know who you are, and you don't even know how to take care of yourself. Why? Because you've been busy all these years taking care of the kids, of your spouse, and of your family, and so forth, and you pay no attention to yourself. Well, now is your time to transform. And in order to do that, you've got to renew your mind. Now, to renew your mind is a radical alteration to your way of thinking, the way you process things, the way you see things, the way you view things, the way you absorb information. And you have to understand that however you view whatever opinions you may have are just as valid, if not more so, because it's coming from you. It's just as valid as the information that you get from the outside in. As a matter of fact, I trust me. And I encourage you to get to that point, to get to that place where you trust yourself. I put a demand on my mind, my brain, my emotions, my feeling, my intuition. When I need to know something, to find out a situation, to get answers of anything. Just not too long ago, I was, I had this little piece of, anyway, I had something that I had misplaced. And I thought, wait a minute, Cynthia, you know where it is. It's in plain sight. You know where and I said, I talked to myself. And then, I retrace and bump right into it. You've got to trust yourself because you are faithful to yourself. You will not lie to yourself. You will not cheat on yourself. You will not, you are going to do well for you. But you've got to train your mind. Our mind is so, it's so filled with belief systems that sometimes it clouds clear thinking. And then for those of you that are involved in religion, and for me it was a Christian religion, I was told to lean not onto my own understanding. Don't lean onto what you know, what you feel, what you think. Lean not onto your own understanding. So if I don't lean onto my own understanding, whose understanding will I lean on? Considering I have five senses, I have a brain, I have a mind, and I have thoughts. Those are the tools that you have. And guess what? They are yours. And as I utilize these tools, my five senses, I can hear, I can see, I can smell, I can taste, I can feel, I can touch and feel. And then I can think. Then I have the ability to govern these thoughts, to make these thoughts what I choose. I have that ability to choose those thoughts. I can choose not to be afraid, or I can, you know, stuff my mind with thoughts of fear. Something bad is going to happen. What if this? What if that? Maybe this, maybe that. Or I can say, wow, let's move ahead. Let's do this. And those are the attributes that are mine. You have thoughts. They are your thoughts. You have senses. So to tell you not to lean onto your own understanding, somebody made that up. I hear so many people, and that's one of the reasons we don't know who we are. People don't know who they are because somebody, and I hear people say it all the time, uh, don't do anything, just trust. Trust God. And, if that's your religious belief, then that's what you're going to have to go with. But, I know a lot of situations where people are, trusting and trusting and trusting year after year after year after year after year, and years have passed by. And they're waiting for confirmation, for affirmation, for permission, for the go ahead, for the green light. And now time has gone by. You can wait. That's your choice. That's the whole thing about this whole journey, my friend. You don't have to. The thing is this: once you learn to trust yourself, once you learn to acknowledge the treasure within you, that you are magnificent in your mind, in your thinking. Why would I be created with these attributes and not be able to use it? Yet I must follow somebody else's writing? So what about me? Are they superior than my ability to think and to process things? It all depends on how you answer that. You may say yes. I said no. And I went through a radical alteration to my way of thinking. As a matter of fact, I don't even talk a lot about believing, because believe, when you say I believe this, it is still an external source. You are believing something that someone else said, someone else's opinion, their views, their take, their position on something. But think about the attributes that you have. Think about your five senses. When you hear something, it's like, did I hear something? And guess what? Then you go back to make sure that it was something. Like my husband always said, when you hear something, it is something. Like if we're at home and he hears something, outside in the patio, whatever, he's going to get up and he's going to go look because he trusts what he's heard. And he always said, he said, when you hear something, then you go look. If you're home alone, things doesn't just happen. When you hear something, you go look. And he does that. He could be. I remember one time at midnight, we heard a noise in the alarm system went off or something like that. Anyway, he got right up, and then come to find out there was a shortage. There was uh, the lights went out in the neighborhood for a few seconds, a few minutes, but he just knew something. The alarm, whatever. Any you have the ability to hear. You have the ability to see. You've got to trust your eyes. Why are we told not to trust? Don't trust what you see. Don't trust what you hear. Why? Why would you not trust your five senses? Am I? Do I smell something? Is it flame? Is it fire? Is it smoke? Trust that. You need to trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Because you are a magnificent, creative being. When you start trusting yourself to come up with ideas for your life. Yesterday in a coaching session, I, was talking to this person and they were sharing, some things about themselves and going through some challenges and also some health challenges and so forth. And then they mentioned that they realized that their energy is very low, very low. And I said, what's your nutrition like? And they said, well, I'm a vegetarian and, so I don't eat meat and so forth. And I said, well, what's your source of protein? Because protein is the building block of the body. That's what gives you, carbohydrates give you energy and all that, but protein is what repairs and rejuvenates the cells in your body. Protein. So I said, well, where do you get your protein? And this person said, well, I eat tofu and blah blah. And I said, and then I was curious about her vegetarian protocol. And I said, why are you? She said, well, I'm not vegetarian. I'm a vegan. I have some dairy and so forth. Some. And I said, but you don't eat meat. I said, well, are you a pescatarian? She said, no. And I said, and then I was curious. I said, why are you a vegetarian? She said, well, I've been a vegetarian all my life. My husband is not vegetarian or my kids are not, because when they were born, my husband said, he doesn't want his kids to be vegetarian. He wants them to have the full meal of. So she is the only one in the house that's a vegetarian. So I asked her, I said, why are you a vegetarian? Just casually. I was just curious, to find out what was the fundamental reason why you were a vegetarian. And she said, well, I've been a vegetarian from small. I said, well, yeah, but why? She said, well, I grew up vegetarian. I said, I understand. And what I was looking for is what was the compelling reason for her to be a vegetarian? Was it something spiritual? Was it something physical, health wise? Was it cultural? What was it? And she said, well, that's how I grew up. My mom was vegetarian. We didn't eat meat in the house, and I just grew up that way. And I said, but why? She said, well, I don't know. Imagine that. That's why I always say you have to know why you believe what you believe. If you don't know why you believe what you believe, then what's the sense of it? And now that this person is having some health issues and has come to realize that she's lacking in nutrients and minerals and enzymes and protein and all of that. And because I said something about salmon, because salmon is an excellent source of protein. And I was saying, salmon and tuna and chicken or whatever, and nuts and things like that. Because I mean, I don't know how much protein or how much tofu you need to eat every day with nuts in order to get the right amount of protein for your body. But obviously, something is missing in that diet. But my point is this: what the fact that that person did not know why they believe what they believe, yet they have lived a whole life. This person is an adult, a whole life a certain way, not knowing why. There was no compelling reason, like, because if I say I'm a vegan because I believe that the gods cover me because I do not harm animals, and I believe I'm covered by the gods and protected by the gods because I do no harm to animals. That would be a compelling reason. That would be something fundamental that leads me to behave the way I do, to abstain from uh, flesh, animal flesh. I can understand that, but not knowing and just thinking, and that this had to do with another type of religious doctrine. And but the same is with in Christianity. Why do we believe? I spent years believing a certain way, years believing a certain way. And fortunately, when I went through this process of this journey of self discovery and this process of transformation, to transform this whole belief system into something more uh, uh, me, that's relative to me, my thoughts, my impression, my opinion, my views that were mine, and start trusting that. Start trusting me, my intuition, my heart, what I felt. Start learning to know and to trust my thoughts, to acknowledge my senses. And that's why I call myself a realist. And you cannot convince me of any other way, when people say I believe this, because when you say you believe, you are still believing something else, because you're saying, I'm not sure, but I think so. I believe so. I believe what someone else says. When you walk in a belief system, it's what someone else says. And if you can just grasp that, that alone will set you free. That alone is the truth that will set you free. If you can just grasp that, any belief that you have, even if you're at work and you're trying some kind of modality to make something work, you will say, I believe it will work. You work on a project together, and you believe. You're not sure. You're not convinced. You don't know the facts. But when it comes to your personal life, there are certain things that you have to know, and what will aid you knowing is by you acknowledging, first of all, your five senses and the brain, the mind, the ability to think. All you have to do is start thinking for yourself. You think for yourself, and you process things for yourself, and no one can tell you that's not the way. If it has to do with you, if it has to do with you, I've discovered a lot of things about me, not only, emotionally, physically, psychologically, in all ways. I have discovered, and I am still in the process of discovering, what works for me and what doesn't work. And if I cannot identify it and define it, then I don't even spend time trying to figure out anything. It has to work. So I don't like to spend time on belief because I can reject that, because when you believe, it generally comes from external sources. Think about the attributes that you have. Your ears, you can hear. Your eyes, you can see. Your nostrils, you can smell. Your mouth, you can taste. And you can feel. It's all yours. And then your mind, your brain, your thoughts, the ability that, do you know how that works, my friend? Just think of it. You can pause for a second and start entertaining thoughts. But guess what? You are the one that will choose those thoughts. Now, some thoughts may come across your mind, but I'm talking about the thoughts that you allow to set in your mind. That's why we call it a mindset. The thoughts that you allow to set in your mind. What are those thoughts? How are they helping you? How are those thoughts helping you? Are those thoughts for good? Are those thoughts of prosperity? Are those thoughts of well-being? Are those thoughts of health? Are those thoughts of good social relationships? Are those thoughts of abundance? What are those thoughts? If those thoughts are the things that people say, like too much, too much, too much money for the money, or um, things like I'm just making it, barely making it, don't have enough money, broke. If if those are the thoughts that you have, just look at your life, because your life is a manifestation. It is a reflection of the thoughts that are set in your mind. And just think, my friend, that you have the ability to control those thoughts. And there's some thoughts that are dominant in your mind. You have dominant thoughts. But you're the one that pulled the switch. You are the one that control those thoughts. And as you continue to transform, you will, again, transformation comes by the renewing of your mind. And some people think of it as, when I say the renewing of your mind, is getting rid of the old and embracing the new. And the new has to do with you, yourself, and you. In my case, I would say me, myself, and I. You, yourself, and yours. It's all you. And you have to be unapologetic about it. You only have one life. Just one to live every day that's afforded to you. And now is the time to embrace the new you, whether it's reinvented you or recreated you or reignited you. Go back to that place so that you can be your true, authentic self and live a life of pleasure, of joy, of peace. You can do it. First of all, you deserve a good life. You deserve a prosperous life. You deserve a good life. You deserve to be healthy. Yourself, your family, but let's just stick with you first. It's all about you, my friend. It is all about you. And what are the things that you need to pay attention to as you go through this transformation? Because understand that information comes to us from our social circle. I mean, that's inevitable. It comes through education. It comes through technology. It comes through culture, the culture that you're in. It comes through all those sources, and it's inevitable. But what you are responsible for doing is to process the information. Now, there are certain things that you cannot tell me that work because I already, certain things like, let me see, what kind of example? Uh, I don't know, people that I can't think of anything right now, but there's certain things that I am just like, if you come to me with negativity and oh, woe is me and whatever, I'm gonna flip it around. As a matter of fact, the person that I was speaking with, it was like a coaching session yesterday, and they wrote to me today. They said, I already feel so rejuvenated. It's so good to be with someone that's positive and to have good connection with people like me. And it is true. Because if you sit a minute in my presence, that's what you will get. It's inevitable because that's the way I have set the thoughts in my mind. And I I love to help people. I do. And when I see someone having fun and enjoying life and but knowing who they are. But the thing is, as I listen to people, you come to realize that yeah, people can you can have fun and so forth, but the bottom line is you need to know who you are. Because if you don't know who you are who they have said, who they have told you are. So you try to moderate your life, you try to, do things to meet the ambiance. It's your life, my friend. It is your life. It is your ability to think. It is your ability to process things. When take a thought, whatever it is that you desire, take that thought, whatever, whether it's to be able to go shopping, whether it's to meet someone that will love you, whether it's to travel, whether it's to have, a good friend, have a good relationship, whatever it is that you desire, create that thought in your mind exactly the way you want it. You could even write it down. You can even write it down exactly what you want, and don't hold back. Don't hold back. Don't put any restrictions. Don't put any limitations on the thoughts, because guess what? They're free and they're your thoughts. And if you're honest with yourself, if you are honest with yourself and continue to to think the way you think, and with whatever it is that you want and so forth, you will see that thought begins to take shape and come right into your life. If it's something else, whether it's meeting someone or an opportunity to travel, or wanting to be part of a, I don't know, a social group, or to meet someone that you can fall in love with, or whatever it is, it begins with a thought. It begins with a thought. And you have to know why. It's like I said to, this person yesterday. She had no idea why she is a vegetarian. That is I can understand that. But it's rampant. A lot of people do stuff by default. So you go through life on autopilot. You just go through life on autopilot. You just do things because look, I use one type of rice, and I was thinking about that the other day. I put it in a rice cooker and whatever, and there's just one type of rice that I use, and I have tried two different, other types of rice, but and why do I use that rice? Because it's the rice my mother used. Okay, it's the rice that I grew up on. Okay, but when I tried the other rice, the other type of rice, Mahatma, Basmati, and all that, when I tried the other rice, it did not give me the flavor that my palates are used to. So, and not only that, the way I cook it, because I cook a perfect rice every time. I do. And whether it's rice and beans, because I can cook a mean rice and beans, or just plain white rice, it comes out nicely cooked and grainy. I don't like rice that are sticky, that's overcooked. I like it cooked al dente. And that particular rice that I use, I'm just not saying it because I don't want to advertise for anyone. That particular rice that I use, it's because it works for me. First, it was because that's what I grew up on. That's the rice my mom cooked. That's the rice she used. But then I had to come to a decision. Why am I, that's the one that I was introduced to from childhood. But now that I'm an adult, yeah, and that's why I kind of branched off into trying some other different types of rice. It's like, okay, let me try these other ones. And it just didn't work for me. It didn't come out the way I like my rice to be, grainy and well, nicely cooked al dente. So I discovered what works for me, or the rice that works for me. So it's not because I grew up on that. Yes, I was first introduced to that when I was little, but then I had to make a decision as I grew, as I became an adult, which is going to work for me, which works best for me. So now I can say I use this rice because that works best for me. It works best for me. That's just an idea that I can think of, right now. But I can tell you why. If you say, well, why do you use this particular thing? I can tell you why. And all those little things I've had to change because you go back and you start doing things based on the way you grew up. Oh, this is just the way my mom did it. This is the way she cooked it. This is the way this is the way that, this is the way, and you don't have your own. And that's just a little example. Certain things are like, like I make a mean flan. I make like the best flan. Everybody says that. I made one recently, and it's just, everybody loves it. Now, that's a basic recipe. That is a basic recipe, and it works for me. It works for me. As a matter of fact, we went to this party, and somebody made flan, and they made it a little different. Did I take a flan? I think I did, yes. And somebody said, oh, yeah, this tastes very good. I make mine a little different, they said. And they said, oh, yeah, I put something, cream cheese or something in it. I said, oh, interesting. So I had an opportunity to taste it on another occasion, and I didn't like it at all. It was okay, but I didn't like it. I prefer mine. So the thing is, you have to be able to identify. You have to be able to define who you are. Identify why you believe what you believe, why you do what you do. And if you can't identify it, then you're doing it because you're used to doing that. That's the way it's been done. That's the way you grew up. That's all you know. And then come to find out, it's like this person, now she's got challenged with her health and finds out that she's lacking protein. She's going through a battery of tests and so forth. But then she realized, yeah, my body needs some protein. Now, I'm not saying that the only source of protein is salmon and chicken and all that, but then you have to pay attention to that. And if it comes from animal source, or you've got to pay more attention and know why you're doing why have you made that decision? Why is it? Why? You've got to know why. You've got to know why you do what you do. The renewal of your mind, the renewing of your mind has got to be renewed as you go through this journey of self-discovery. Your mind is being renewed. That is part of the process. Your mind is constantly changing, and it changes by the way you start processing information. You start looking at things differently. You start constructing things differently. You start, reconciling things that you question, or you have this set of belief, and then right now you are thinking this way and you're trying to reconcile it, and over here you are motivated by fear because of the teachings that you've had, and then you're trying to do something else over here. Sometimes it becomes madness in your mind. You're gonna have to learn, my friend, to quiet your mind, trust your instinct. Trust your heart. Trust your instinct. Trust your ability to think and to process things. Because you know what? When you do that, it's honoring yourself. And most people don't honor themselves. You honor someone else. You give all the accolades to someone else. You give all the praise to someone else. And so what about you? Like, that's why some people, they can't take a compliment. You compliment them and they just lose it. They're like, oh no, not me. And they say, no, it's God has done. No, it's you. You put in the work. And why should you be afraid? That's the whole thing. People are afraid. They're like, no, I'm not, don't want to, touch the glory of God, because it's not. Why? If you have fear of anything in your life, then something is not right, because you should not have fear. Now, there's certain things that I dislike, like bugs. And if a bug flies, if I'm outside and, there's a cricket or whatever, I'm going to react. I'm not really afraid. I just can't stand them. But whenever there's fear of something, I try to identify it and deal with it. And then you have to reason in your mind, is there a reason to fear? Is there a reason to fear? Now, you may say, well, my kids go to school, and with all the shooting in the school, of course I'm afraid. No, you don't need to be afraid. You need to trust that, that they will be okay. Because if you don't, then anxiety will set in, depression will set in. You wouldn't even know how to act. You will always be wondering, worrying, calling the school, whatever, and not be relaxed, at peace with yourself. And that's your guiding light, the peace that you carry. All of that helps you to live a life, of freedom and your truth. You've got to know why you believe what you believe as you go through this process of transformation, changing from the old to the new. We're in the 21st century. And in case you haven't noticed, things have changed. A lot of things have changed. And if you don't keep up, you'll be left behind. Left behind is not this movie. I'm not talking about that. You'll be just left behind and become so irrelevant. That may not mean anything to you, but it's important that you remain relevant. You know what's going on, and not only that, for your own well-being, mental, emotional, physical, psychological, your whole well-being, my friend. It's all about you. And you have to approach this journey unapologetically. Don't make excuses. Don't try to compromise. You have got to approach, and not everyone is going to applaud you. As a matter of fact, somebody shared yesterday, I was in this meeting, and they said, not everybody that's with you are rooting for you. And I thought, wow, yeah, not everybody that comes with you, they're really rooting for you. Some people, they come with you to find out what it is that they can go back and criticize. But I don't think in those terms, because that to me is got a flavor of negativity. But it is true, and I thought, oh yeah, that there's some truth to that. But I don't, you know, because when you are centered in your own space and you know who you are, and you are, you're not concerned of what people think or say, because people are going to think and they're going to say whatever they want to say about you, and that is beyond your control. You cannot control that. People are going to say or think whatever. That's not your business. This journey is yours, and it's fully yours. You've got to table it as yours. And you go through, and as you continue to discover things about yourself, you address situations, and sometimes it has to do with people. And but by then, hopefully, you have the confidence to address situation and to make sure you set those boundaries. Those boundaries are so important. You know why? Because people become familiar. People become sometimes too familiar. You know, years ago, I had a situation with someone that crossed those boundaries, and they crossed the boundaries, and I had to set the record straight. But I didn't set the record straight with the person. I set the record straight. I didn't want to create a situation that was conflict. I didn't want that. So in that case, I had to sever the relationship. I just severed the relationship. I just did. I just severed the relationship by osmosis. It just happened. Sometimes you have to do that. It wasn't a great loss, but sometimes you have to do that. Just sever it. And that could be with anyone. Sometimes you have to make those hard decisions because it's all about you. I know society tells us, don't be, you're selfish and don't think about yourself all the time. And that's why sometimes there's guilt. As a matter of fact, yesterday, some of the ladies shared that, now that they're kind of going through their own thing and, being a business person and so forth, and they have guilt because of the demand their family has on them, they feel guilty. And that can happen. That's why you need to know who you are. And you set boundaries with, even if you have little kids, they need to know when, mommy is taking a break or whatever. You come and sit with mommy and, just, you've got to set boundaries with everyone. That is a big part of your transformation. But to do that, you have got to, again, renew your mind. Renew your mind. Think of it as like grinding. When you grind something, it's like you know pushing out stuff, and then you put in the new, and you're grinding. It's like how you make pasta. There's a grinder, you put stuff in and it comes out and whatever. Or what do you call it, meatloaf, ground beef. You put it in top, and then you grind and you get rid of, you put the new, you get rid of. It's all about you, my friend. I'm going to leave you with that, so that you can clearly know and understand that it's your thinking, the set of thoughts that you set in your mind. The set of thoughts that you set in your mind is what creates your surrounding, your life, the things that you attract. Yesterday, when I shared, I shared a little bit about myself, and you know, great years in corporate America, and it wasn't perfect, but they were great years. The experience that I garnered from that whole establishment, I value that. I treasure that, because it's helped me become the person that I am. So I shared that, and then I shared, that we just celebrated. My husband and I just celebrated an anniversary last month, and how it's just wonderful. I was just happy to share that. And somebody said, "Wow, that's a great life." And yeah, before I would kind of like, but you'd feel some kind of way, especially if people have things around you that's going on. But that's my truth, and the more I acknowledge it, own it, live it, it's like it just repeats itself. That's my truth, and I own it. This, what I share, can appear or seem like it's encouraging you to be selfish. If that's what you think, so be it. Be selfish. It's not selfish, though. It's self care. It's not arrogance. It's not bragging. It's not selfish. There's no need for you to feel guilty. Because when you take care of yourself, then you will be well prepared to give your best to the people that are around you, your family, your friends. You will be better prepared. And then, whatever they do or say should not really affect you or bother you, or you become disgruntled with them, or because you know what? Your expectation of them will change. Why? Because you will allow them to also grow into their authentic self. You would want that for others. You would want that for other people. That's the whole idea. Why do I get so excited? Because I know who I am. So regardless of what you become, you could, whatever it is that you want to be, I will celebrate that. Why? Because that is your thing. I don't want that. I mean, you could be traveling the world and sending pictures. As a matter of fact, my friends, they know, send me pictures. So when you come back, I want to know all about it. I want to know about, Istanbul and Morocco and whatever, wherever it is that you went. Because, when I travel, moment, it is such a deep experience for myself and my husband, but I'm talking about me. It's such a great experience, and when I come back, I share. And there's some friends here that people also that have that same experience of traveling. They we share, because they're not jealous or envious because I went someplace, because they get to go where they want to go. And that's the whole thing. When you're doing what you like to do, then you can celebrate someone else. You can celebrate what someone else is doing, because you are fulfilled in what you want to do, in what you are doing, in the choices that you are making for your life. So you can celebrate someone else and applaud them and encourage them and motivate them and support them. That's the whole thing. Support them. Encourage, motivate, support, inspire each other. There's no need to compete, no need to be jealous or envious, or people say things like, "Oh, it must be nice." Somebody tells me that, I said, "Yep, you have discerned correctly. It is nice." Yeah. If somebody said, "Oh, yeah, it must be nice to do this and to do that," yes, it is nice. I'm very expressive. So when something great happens to me, I have a tendency to, of course, certain things I share. What I share in public, that's no big deal. Things that are a little more personal, then I'm selective. Or if it's really deep down or something that hasn't yet revealed itself, then I have this bank within my mind, within myself, that I keep stuff that's for me only. That's for me alone. Because I know, I give it time to brew, to bake, to grow, and, become manifest into reality. That's exciting for me because it's like you birth stuff. That's why I say you are a magnificent creative being. A magnificent creative being. I'm going to leave you with this. If somebody were to ask you, and not someone, yourself, ask yourself, who am I? How would you define that? Who am I? Who who am I? How would you define that? Who are you? Who am I? That's a question that you will start asking yourself as you begin to transform, as you begin to renew your mind and see the transformation in yourself. And it's not about, oh, I'm the wife of so and so. No, no, no. I'm talking about you as a unit, you as an individual. And then when you start unmasking all the external influences and you come to know and discover your true identity, and you will know by the way you start talking. You'll be more authentic, more confident, more assertive. You would just, start just talking truth, your truth, unapologetically, and not be afraid of what people may say or think about you. That's the whole thing. What will they say? What will they think about you? It doesn't matter. Don't think about people when you go through this journey, because again, my friend, it is all about you. I'm going to leave you with that so that you can ponder on that. And if you need someone to walk alongside with you, I am a transformational life coach, a certified life coach. And you can touch base with me. Just go to my website, thecynthialinoxshow.com. Just go scroll to the bottom and you will see this box there. Just drop me an email. My email address is info, I-N-F-O, at thecynthialinoxshow.com. And just shoot me an email and we will either chat. I offer a 30-minute complimentary chat just to see, to make sure that you're comfortable and so forth. And we can take it from there. So again, it's info at thecynthialinoxshow.com. Now, every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am right here. And you and I, we have a date. 2 p.m. Central Standard. And if you can't make it, if you can't make that 2 p.m. date, then you can access the show 24/7. See the icons right here: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube 24/7. In the meantime, let's continue to grow. Let's continue to peel those layers off, those layers of doubt and limited belief and stinking thinking and fear and all of those things that are negative and pessimistic and all of that. Let's just peel it off and get rid of them. Let's peel it off like an onion. You peel layer by layer by layer. And sometimes you may have to pause because things can be a little overwhelming. You may take a pause and, as you peel. But I know for me, as I discover things, I just peel it off because you know why? I went to, I took time to ask myself the question, why do you believe what you believe? Is like the person I was talking to yesterday. Been a vegetarian this person is an adult all her life and has no idea. Well, the reason is because that's the way she grew up. That's all she knew. But it's not that she chose that. That's all she knew. That's the way she grew up, and that is what she stuck with until this day. And now I said, now that you are having these situations, gives you a chance to reconsider your choices, your options. But that's up to her. Everybody, the thing about this whole journey is that you get to make decisions for yourself. You make your own choices, your own decisions, your own options. You get to choose. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you that there are options for you. And with that, my friend, I'm going to say ciao, au revoir, hasta luego, hasta la próxima semana, which is next week. Same time, same place. And have a great weekend. You still have Friday for those of you that are in the workforce. Friday, and then, of course, comes the weekend. Have a great weekend. The weather's getting a lot cooler now, so it's my kind of weather. I kind of like it cold. Fall, winter, spring. So, anyway, ciao, hasta luego. We'll see you next week. Same time. Oh, you know what? Oh, that's not even the right. Okay, amigos. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Same time, same place. Ciao.